Welcome to the Burnsley Homes Damp and Mould training video. This session will help you spot the signs of damp, mould and condensation, equip you with handy hints and tips, tell you what to do if you have any damp, mould and condensation in your property.
To start us off, we will begin by looking at the types of damp and mould you may come across in your property. These are damp caused by a plumbing leak, condensation, rising damp and penetrating damp.
Damp can be caused by a leak from a toilet, shower, sink or pipe, and it can affect internal walls and ceilings. This kind of damp will appear as an obvious damp patch, no matter what the weather is like outside. Black mould rarely appears with this type of dampness because the area is too wet. If you think you might have a leak, check around the water and waste pipes inside your home, the seals around the bath, shower and sink, and any external pipework such as guttering.
Condensation. What is condensation? Condensation occurs when there is a build-up of moisture in the air, even if you can't see it. Moisture is produced during everyday activities such as cooking, bathing, drying clothes and even breathing. What causes condensation? Condensation is caused by water vapour or moisture inside the home coming into contact with a colder surface, such as a window or wall. It happens mainly during the colder months, whether it's rainy or dry outside. There are four main factors that cause condensation: too much moisture being produced in the home, not enough ventilation, cold surfaces, and the temperature of your home. Here we will look at how much moisture is produced by basic everyday activities in the home. Drying clothes indoors can produce 9 pints of moisture. Cooking and using a kettle can produce 6 pints. Even breathing creates moisture. 2 people at home for 16 hours can produce 3 pints. If you have a fish tank at home, this can produce 3 pints. Washing dishes, 2 pints. If you own pets, these can also contribute to the moisture in your home. One large dog can create 2 pints in a day. Taking a bath or shower can produce 2 pints of moisture, and if all of this was happening in your home, that means a total of 27 pints, that's 15.3 litres of extra moisture in one day. Please be aware that this figure can increase due to other factors. For example, when we re-enter our properties from the outside with wet or damp clothing, this will add to the moisture levels in your property during the winter months.
So now we know some of the reasons moisture is produced in your property, what can you do to reduce it? We will look at what tips we have later on in the video which will help to avoid creating excessive moisture, reducing moisture in the air when using hot water, increasing ventilation so moisture can escape, and raising the temperature of your home.
Penetrating damp. Penetrating damp is found on external walls and ceilings. It's caused by water passing through a building defect and will appear as an obvious damp patch, particularly after rainfall. Black mould rarely appears on areas of penetrating damp. This is because the affected area is usually too wet and the water contains salt picked up when passing through the wall, which prevents growth. Spot the signs. Penetrating damp can be caused by a number of repair problems. For example, a leaking roof, a cracked wall, missing pointing, leaking gutterings or external pipes, a leaking drainage pipe, or rotten windows or doors. If you think you have penetrating damp in your home, let us know straight away so we can take action.
Rising damp. This kind of damp is more common in older properties. It generally affects the lower part of the ground floor of a property up to about the height of 1 metre. Black mould doesn't usually come from rising damp, as just like with penetrating damp, the water contains salt picked up when passing through the wall, which prevents growth.
Spot the signs. If you have rising damp, you may notice damaged skirting boards and floorboards, crumbling or salt-stained plaster, peeling paint and wallpaper, a tide mark running along the wall. If you think you have rising damp in your home, let us know straight away so we can take action.
Now we know the types of damp that you might find in your property, let's look at our Think STAR campaign. STAR stands for Spot the Signs, Try Our Tips, Act Fast, Report It. We will now look at these in more detail. Spot the signs. The first sign that could lead to damp and mould in your property is misting and water droplets on cold surfaces like windows that take a long time to clear. The second sign can be patches of black mould growing on your walls and ceilings. Also, you may notice a musty smell.
In this next section, we'll be looking at tips you can use to try and reduce moisture in the air, looking at windows, drying clothes, cooking and bathing, moving furniture, and keeping your home warm. Windows play an important part in making sure your home is well ventilated, giving moisture somewhere to escape. Try keeping windows slightly open, even just for 15 minutes will allow airflow. Open trickle vents. Wipe windows to remove any condensation. Try thermal curtains, keeping them open during the day and closed on a night. As we know, drying clothes is the biggest moisture producing activity in our homes. Try to dry clothes outside when you can. We know this is not always possible, so when you do need to dry clothing inside, pop them on an airer in the bathroom, keeping the door closed and window open or the extractor fan on.
Cooking and using the kettle was the second biggest activity for producing moisture. Try keeping lids on pots and pans to contain the steam. Don't let your kettle boil continuously as it creates excess steam. Open a window or put the extractor fan on. If possible, don't use oil or gas heaters as they create excess vapour. Did you know that to use an extractor fan for 1 hour each day costs 0.68 pence for the day? That's 20.4 pence a month and £2.45 for the whole year. If you remember, taking a bath or shower can produce 2 pints of moisture in your home. Try keeping your bathroom door closed when showering or taking a bath. Open a window and pop your extractor fan on if you have one. Empty your bath as soon as you finish to avoid evaporation that leads to condensation. Did you know that by putting a bit of cold water in your bath before adding hot can reduce the amount of steam by 90%? Another good tip is to look at the positioning of your furniture. Keep furniture away from external walls if possible to allow air to circulate. Don't block any air vents with furniture and avoid overfilling wardrobes or cupboards to allow air to circulate freely.
Keeping your home warm can help with any condensation issues. Try to heat your home to at least 18 degrees. Try and keep it at an ambient temperature rather than short blasts of heat. Try a dehumidifier to extract moisture from the air. Using the heating controls on your radiators will help keep down costs. If you are struggling with bills to heat your home, you can self-refer for tenancy support by contacting your neighbourhood team or email tenantsupportservice@burnsleyhomes.co.uk.
If you have damp, mould or condensation in your home, act fast. Follow our tips to see if things improve. Remove the mould but stay safe. There are lots of tips on our website that can help you. Use products that carry a HSE number. You can get them in most DIY stores and make sure to follow the instructions carefully. Report it. If things haven't improved after you've followed our tips or it's getting worse, please tell us. The problem could be caused by something else that needs investigating, so we need to know. You can report it by calling us on 01226 787878 or completing our online form on the website.
Thank you for watching the tenant training video on damp and mould. We hope you found it useful. Remember, think STAR, and if you need to report any issues to us, you can do so by calling 01226 787878 or by filling in our online damp and mould e-form.